Guys, welcome back to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to ahead and do an example related to how to write a Apex unit test. It might be possible that the interviewer just asks you the theory, but if they ask you that about the syntax and how do you write the Apex code and what do you mean by code coverage, so this tutorial will actually give you all the answers and will help you in understanding of the Apex unit test in more detail. So what we are going to do here is we are going to create an Apex class first, and then we will write a test class in order to test the Apex class. And we will inside of that test class, we will cover multiple test methods. We will test the different scenarios for the Apex code. So which will make sure that our code is working the way expected for every type of input that we can expect. So in order to start, the first thing is I will have to write a Apex class. So I will go to my developer console here, and we are going to create a new Apex class. Apex class. And I will call this class as temperature converter. So this class is basically going to use to be convert your Fahrenheit to Celsius. So that is what the purpose of this thing is. Temperature converter. So this is the name of the Apex class, temperature converter. And inside of this class, I will have a method defined. So the method will be of the type public static, and the return type is it's going to return you the data type would be decimal, and the name of the method will call this as Fahrenheit to Celsius. So this is going to be the name for method. So for the name for the method is Fahrenheit to Celsius, and it takes in one parameter of the type decimal, and the name of the variable is fh. So this is what it is going to do. So what is the method name? Fahrenheit to Celsius. That's the name of the method, and it takes in one parameter of the type decimal, and it returns you a variable of the type decimal. Now the next thing we need to do is, so you know what's the formula to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius, right? If you remember in your science class, the formula was H minus 32, then multiply by 5 divided by 9. So this was the formula, right? So this is the formula to convert the temperature which is in Fahrenheit to Celsius. So this is what the whatever, so what will it be? So if you are pressing the right, first we're going to do decimal CS is equals to, yeah. Let's take the marker first. So let's you take the 100 here. So it should be like this: 100 minus 32 multiply by 5 divided by 9. So this is what it should be. So if we want to calculate this, how much it should be. So if we want to use your calculator here, so 100 minus 32, it comes out to be 68. So it comes out to be 68. 68 multiply by 5 divided by 9. So it is going to be equals to 68 multiplied by 5 divided by 9. 37. So it came out to be how much? So this came out to be approximately 37 degrees, right? 37 degrees Celsius. Now the 100 Fahrenheit to Celsius would be approximately 37 degrees Celsius. So now if I wanted to go ahead, first let's erase this. Yeah, and search 100 Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can see here it is 37.778. So our formula is exactly the way we expected, and it should work because this is what the formula says. FH minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9. Similarly, let's say you are passing 120 Fahrenheit. So how much in it will that case? So if you are passing FH is equals to 120 degree Fahrenheit. So what will be according to the formula? 120 minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9. So how much this going to be? 120 minus 32. So let's go ahead and use our calculator again. So 120 minus 32, that comes out to be 88, multiplied by 5, that is 440, divided by 9 is equals to 48.88. So basically it should be equals to how much? 48.8, let's say 989. This is what in the Celsius would be. So if you want to double check, so first let's erase this. So if you want to double check, and let's go to our Google Chrome and type 120. So it's going to be 48.889. So this is exactly the way we expected. This is right. So our formula is right here. And then what we're going to do is we are going ahead and return. Since we want to scale it, we don't want to return 4 digit after the decimal. I just want to set the scale here, and I will just set the scale. Return dot set scale. I just want to be the scale 2, and we are going to return our output. This is the class. You can do a manual testing here. You can even do a manual testing. The manual testing can be something like this. You can just say system.of_debug. You can just say temperature in Celsius is equals to, then you can provide the value of CS dot of set scale, and then you can return the value scale, then this will be the output. So if you want to test this, how will you test this? So I am going ahead and invoke my this window and will say dot Fahrenheit to Celsius and pass 100 as the decimal value here. And then what will happen is once I do that, it will call this method and display this line. And let's see what the output is. If I go, yeah, now execute this. Go to debug only. The answer is 37.78. So now if I go back and give another value here, let's say 200, and see if the values come out to be the way we expect. Go to debug only, 93.33. And if you are doing 200 here, so let's say if you are giving a minus value, let's say what happened. So in the case of you are giving minus of 200, then in the Celsius, it will be, let's see, go to debug only. Then in the Celsius, it will be minus 128. Anytime you have to test it, you don't have to rerun it. But if you have written a unit test, you do not have to manually go ahead and test it. What you have to do is you are going to write the unit test, and the unit test, through those unit tests, you are going to pass your data, your mock data, and then you will have expected result and the actual result, and you will see if the unit test is failing or it's successful, instead of rather than manually testing for each input one by one. No, we do not want to do that. So what we want to do is right now, if we go ahead and look at it, if in this overall coverage, you will see that there is file class named temperature converter, and you can see no line has been covered. We have not met the criteria of 75% code coverage. It is 0% right now. What we are going to do here is we are going to write the test classes in order to test our Apex class. So we saw how to manually test the code if it's working the way expected, but we are not going to do manually. We are going to write some unit test. We are going to write some test classes. First thing is, in order to write the test classes, I'm going ahead and call it as Apex class simple. And then the name for this, usually the nomenclature we need to follow is use the same name, whatever the class name that you are testing, but just add the keyword test at the end. But it tells you that, hey, this is the test class for a class temperature converter. So this is the coding standard that you should follow as a developer also. You should not use just name, hey, a test class name will be test 123. Do not do that. Whatever the test class you are testing in that, you have to use that name of the class and then append the word test with it. And as I told you, if you are writing a test class, if it has to have this annotation called is test. Now, if we define this as a test class, the first thing we are going to define our test method. So I'm going to use this is test annotation here. The method is going to be static, then void, then test for the warm temperature. And then what I'm going to do here is I will pass one value. So here I'm going to say, I'm going to invoke the particular class temperature converter. I'm going to invoke the method of that class temperature converter. Dot Fahrenheit to Celsius. And this time I am going to pass the temperature. This is in Fahrenheit, right? So if I pass 70 here, so according to the formula, it should be 70 minus 32. 70 minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9. So what should be the output here? So if you wanted to calculate the output, your output should be according to the test class. According to our temperature convert class, 70 minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9 is equals to 21.11. So it should be equals to 21.11. So this should be the output from the result. So the result should be what? What should be the result here? 21.11. So whatever this method has returned, we are going to store the value in this variable called Celsius. We will store the result of this in the variable section. And then what we are going to do, I'm going to use system.of_assert to make sure what I am expecting is equals to what I am expecting is 21.11. That is what I am expecting, and I am seeing what is the actual. So if the actual is equals to, so if the actual is also equals to 21.11, that means that my test is fine. This is working the way I expected. So if I go ahead and hit the save button, Control S, and now if you go ahead and do test, and then you can say new here, new run, and then you can provide the class. Which test method you are talking about, and then hit the run button. So now what will happen here is it will test that, hey, we tested something. it came out to be successful. It's a green here, nothing, no issues. There's green here, and you can see here the percentage of the code coverage is 100%. So now we have finally tested it. And if you want to double check it, you will see that since all these lines are covered with blue, that means that our code has been 100% covered. If there was one line which was red, that means our code has not been 100%. Right now our code is 100% covered because everything you see here is in blue color. Now going back to this, now let's go ahead and we only check for one input. We check for one input which is 70. Now let's go ahead and pass more parameters and see if they're working the way we expected. So, let's do more example in next tutorial. Okay. Till then, have a good day. Bye.